Oh, hey, you can't see me. That doesn't work. Let's say hi like this, at least a little bit more. Welcome to another day of math and another day of two-step equations. Today we're going to be doing some story problems, and before you get too concerned, just know I'm going to walk through what I can with you, and don't be frustrated if this doesn't make sense. You're not supposed to be doing work like this on your own. You're supposed to have support and two-way communication with the teacher to kind of make sense. So as you watch this, we're going to be doing most of this with support. If you don't have support, if you don't have someone with you that can watch it with you, just do your best. You try a few of them, but don't be frustrated, please. Just give it a shot and see if the practice helps make it make more sense. So here we go. In writing and solving two-step equations, we're first going to write out the equation and then solve it. And in writing out an equation, here's the process. You first of all try to figure out what's being asked. What's the question? Try to find the variable. What's the item? What's the unknown? What are we going to be trying to figure out? Find the variable. Can you find the variable to begin with? For example, on this one, how many cards did you begin with? That's the question. How many cards? So I'm going to use C. On this one, half the comic books, bought 11 more, 24, how many you begin with? So on this one, how many do you begin with? That's the B. Try to figure out what that variable is. Then after that, try to identify the math words. The words that you know are going to be turned into operations or numbers. We've got these 4 cards. You bought, what is bought going to mean in this? Half of your baseball cards. You now have 14. So you try to identify the math words. In this one, half comic books, bought 11 more. These are looking like about the same kind of problem. Now has 24. Identify the math words. Then try to write just half of the equation. Try to write one side of the equal sign, one side of the equation. If you can figure out one side of the equation, the other parts might come in a way that makes sense. So watch this. Half your cards got wet and was ruined. Half your collection, so half of these cards. Then you bought 4 cards to replace some. How many did you begin with? If you now have 14. So I've got the math words, I've got the variable. I want to try to write one side of that equal sign. If I can find, what is equal to what? Well, I know that 14 is one comparison, one side of the equal sign, one side of the comparison. You now have 14. And how did you get 14? Well, let's see, you had half was ruined, but then you bought 4. So if half, so you take half of them, divide by 2. But then you bought 4. Then you can solve that for the 14. I don't want to spend too much of the time solving that. You now know with all the work we've done, you minus 4 from both sides, makes that 10. And then you times by 2, makes it 20. The final answer is x equals 20. You can check on that. You can do the steps that we've done for 2 days. I don't want to spend too much time in this video. You've got 2 previous videos you can watch, I believe, to solve them. So he sold half of his comics books. So we've got half the comic books, and then he bought 11 more. So once again, you've got, whoops, I was going to use X, and then I used X. Sorry about that. Same thing here. This is B, books, half of the books, and then bought 11, which makes 24. Sorry that I keep cutting out, starting this video. When you minus 11 from 24, you get that 13, and when you times it by 2, you get 26. So we started with 26 books. Again, the point in this assignment is mainly writing the equations, solving them as that added step. I'll do a couple more. I'll kind of show you a few, but again, this should be done with support. So find the variable. Let's see, how many hours did you rent the bike? So hours is the question. How many hours? Identify the math words. We got this 1590. We've got a plus. We got 640 every hour. We talked about per, but if it's 640 per hour, it's 640. I know we've talked about per on this one. Because of the way we're writing it, it's going to be times. So it's going to be 640 times the number of hours. That per is because we're going to have to divide it off to get for 1 hour. And then Imani paid $35.10 to rent the bike. So on this equal sign, how can we figure it out? Well, it was $15.90 plus all the hours. And for Imani, it becomes $35.10. That's the complete amount. And that complete amount is gotten by $6.40 every hour plus, this is $15.90 plus 640. So $15.90 plus 640H equals $35.10. And then you subtract off the $15.90. If I fly through this, you'll get a number and then divide it by 640. That'll take some time. You can skip ahead if you already understand this part. $35.10 minus $15.90 is $19.20. And then we divide off this 640 divided by 640. So how many hours? Number of hours is 3 on that one. And number 4, a wise man once said, 300 reduced by 4 times my age is 52. What's his age? So step 1, find the variable. Variable's going to be an age. And then this was just kind of written it out. So it's 300 reduced by 4 times the age is 52. So to find the person's age, to get this A out by itself, first of all, get rid of this positive 300. So you minus 300. And 52 minus 300. It's negative 248. So we have negative 4A is negative 248. And then the one-step equation, divide by negative 4 on both sides. Whatever negative 248 divided by negative 4, so divided by negative 4. That person, that wise person, the age is 62. Anyways, you work through each of these. See if you can at least find the variable. If you can even just find the variable on these problems, you're doing great. That's the main item. Then if you can pick out the math words like plus, like reduced, you'll be doing great. And then finally, try to write, if you can even just write one side of the equation. Again, it's a lot of steps, but if you can even do just one of the steps or just 2 of the steps, practice on every one of these. What have I got? What have we got here? 16. On these 16 problems, at least try to do one of these items on each of the problems. See if you can find the variable on each of them. Then go back and see if you can identify the math words on some of them. And then see if you can write one side of the equation on just a couple of them. If you can get that practice, you'll find that you'll sort out. And just by struggling through, don't quit. Give it a shot. As you do that, you might find that it becomes easier and easier as you do them. So well done. You can check your answers, and the time is yours. Thanks for watching.